Hi, Claudia. Welcome.
Thank you.
So
Thank
nice
you.
to be here and talking about all things sales and marketing, AI, automation.
I'm excited to be here.
Yeah. So you're working on the marketing team and deep in building out our system, our marketing. Do you want to talk a little bit about that, about how the journey, what you've learned over the last nearly a year?
Yeah, sure. Um, I guess if I take you back to my first time at Blackjet, which was in 2023, I believe.
Mm-hmm. This, that would be
And
right.
yeah,
Yeah.
and I had the privilege of working at Blackjet when you were a social media only team. And I guess the evolution of how much it has evolved when I started again working at Blackjet last October. The processes, the system has fundamentally changed. It's huge from what you were and where we are now, and still constantly evolving.
Mm.
I think we're in such a unique, beautiful position where we get to try new things, seek new horizons, and test things out for us. And if they land, implement that for our clients.
Mm-hmm.
And, that's a real time saver, money saver, headache saver for our clients. But it's also exciting for us because what works yesterday, last year, last week is not guaranteed to work tomorrow. So I think one thing that we're fantastic about as our system is just consistently looking at what's working, what's not.
Mm-hmm.
And I think you always say activity versus effectiveness. Is that
Mm-hmm.
right? Is that how
Yeah.
you say it?
Activity over, yeah, versus
Yeah.
effectiveness.
And so is that activity being effective? And that's what we constantly measure.
Mm-hmm.
And to be able to actually do that, I think is really powerful.
Mm.
What was the question?
Yeah. So just give us an insight to your background and you're right. So for those who are joining us today, Claudia did join us when we were a social media only agency. Went on a whirlwind trip overseas, had an amazing. Well, you can speak to your own experience of that. I'm assuming it was amazing. It looked amazing, and then I approached you and said, "Will you come back and join us again and execute on this journey of building out our sales and marketing machine and leading that Black Jet lead generation pace?" And so now you're responsible for that. And it is a journey where we get to test and play and seek new horizons for ourselves first and then our clients. Um, do you want to tell us a little bit about the day-to-day piece of like the three parts of the system or the five parts of the system if you want to? You can frame it
Really
as
get
three
into
or five.
it.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
so how do you generate leads for Blackjet?
Okay. Well, we have this beautiful system in place where we have data, which fundamentally is something that I look at every single morning to be able to see what's working, what's not. But essentially, for lead generation, we'd start top of funnel. So if, for instance, where I look at the data every morning and I'm like, okay, we need more leads. So where do we start? We start at the top of the funnel. So we need to think about our ideal client, which we know already,
Mm.
hand in hand, but really, really understand them. And I'm not talking about their LinkedIn title or their job occupation. You really, really need to understand their pain points, what are they doing at 3 p.m. on a Monday and how they operate and how they think. Because all of that plays into the messaging and who it is that we're looking for. So I think once you've nailed that, the rest becomes easy because if you get that piece wrong, nothing else is going to work.
Mm-hmm.
If you're not speaking to the right people, or in the right way as well. And that's something that we've sort of really been developing right now as our messaging. And we love a good A/B test, but I think we
Yes.
have really quite nailed at the moment our outreach messaging in terms of asking questions and just not going in for the kill.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's what a lot of people get wrong, is that it's a relationship building exercise. And, you don't meet someone and say, hey, do you want to buy a car? Or hey,
First date,
yeah,
the first date story that everyone's heard.
exactly. So I guess how do we generate leads is that for one, we deeply understand who it is that we are targeting. And then secondarily, how to sort of speak their language. So that sort of comes into, like I said, what are they doing at 3 p.m. on a Monday? And what are their blockages? What are their pain points? What's going to cut through? Because, for instance, for insurance, everyone needs insurance. And if everyone's saying, hey, do you want to buy my insurance? That's just not going to cut it.
Yeah.
So I think once you understand your client, your ideal client, you then really need to think about how you're going to speak to them, what language works for them. And that really comes into the pain points and all of that beautiful marketing psychology piece in there, that sales psychology as well. So I guess how we generate leads is that I will pull lists from our ideal client. We have some amazing people on the team at the moment that are working with the messaging and the psychology behind it. So honestly, it's quite simple for us, really, in terms of I can see in our data that we need more top of funnel. I know who we're targeting. I know what we're saying.
Yeah.
And then it's done and it's running and
Yeah.
it's running in the background. It's running right now.
It is.
You know,
I love that.
like
I know that there's already a whole bunch of appointments in my inbox right now.
exactly. Like you've probably got a sales call booked for tomorrow at 2 p.m. You just haven't seen your emails yet. So
I love that.
I think, yeah, it's sort of a combination of seeing what it is that you need in your funnel. And if you need more leads, you need top of funnel, you need more people coming in, but also knowing that chasing new leads is really costly all the time, right? So if you're constantly on that hunt for chasing the new, you've actually quite possibly already got people that just weren't quite ready that last time, for a variation of reasons. You could have messaged them when they were going to the gym, or they just had signed on a new insurance provider, or there are so many different reasons that it couldn't have landed for that time. But that doesn't mean that it's a no. And I think that that's really overlooked in the B2B space, is that nurture piece. It just surprises me, and you've shared so many times about how many of these large companies are still working on Excel sheets,
Right.
and
Yeah.
Google Calendar reminders.
Yeah, so we do see that a lot. If you'd like me to share a little story
please.
about that and the nurture piece. And so, yeah, so you're spending a good majority of your time in the outreach space in terms of generating more top of funnel. And then we're now talking about this nurture piece. And yeah, it's interesting because sometimes I'll jump on a call with someone and say, tell me about your database. And they'll go, oh, well, and these are significant businesses sometimes, like turning over 3 million plus. And they're still running on an Excel sheet for managing their sales opportunities or their customers, or they're not recording anything that comes in. So, let's say, I always say that in terms of nurturing and CRM or client prospect lists, anyone that you speak to should be going in there, whether they're calling in on a phone call, you meet them in a networking event, or they send you an email of an inquiry, pop them in there, and then they're available for nurturing. And to your point, we see it so often where they will be in the system being nurtured. And if we've got really good data, to your point as well, in terms of we know what industry they're in, we know maybe some key dates, we know, and our system does this, we can see what email they've opened,
Yeah.
that they've visited our social media platforms, and that they've clicked the calendar of the salesperson, but they haven't booked an appointment. That is gold.
Absolutely. And
Yeah.
just touching base a little bit on that segmentation piece, the more that you can plug into your CRM and not just the industry, one thing that we're seeing in that insurance space is, when does your insurance renew? And people are giving this information away.
Like that.
Just like that. And so making these notes and really just plugging all of that into the CRM means that you can then create a sequence, and an automated sequence, and say, oh, these people are all, their insurance is renewing in October. So let's, be nurturing them in August, and if you don't have that information and that data or that system behind it, and automation is a key part in that, because if you have people renewing their insurance at many different times of the year, you need that automation piece, because it won't work without it. And I guess, it's just really often overlooked, because those people weren't ready then, but it doesn't mean that they're not ready now.
And we see that all the time in the Blackjet database. So we've got a significant database. We keep them nurtured. We keep in touch. We do a lot of work in that space. And I have jumped on calls with people who have been in our database for 18 months.
Yeah.
And it's not until 18 months later that they're ready.
Absolutely. B2B cycles are long. They are. The sales cycle is not as quick as B2C. And so knowing that, it's just wild that people aren't nurturing, because there is that here and now. The yes, I will buy from you, sign me up. Great. But there's also those opportunities, and there are so many people that are just not honing in on those opportunities.
Yeah. And so, should we segue a little bit to social media?
Yes.
Yes. So, what is the role of social media in B2B sales and marketing?
Well, I think I'll talk about it from a lead generation piece, and there's a couple of pieces in here. One, it builds trust, authority. It builds those relationships, which is key. And again, it comes back to that first piece that I talked about before, is understanding who they are, knowing how to speak to them. Because if you're speaking to absolutely everybody, you are speaking to no one. Love that. But yeah, I think there's a lot of strategy behind it as well, because if you're just sort of posting for posting's sakes, you're ticking some boxes, but there's nothing behind it. And so you really need to be putting those messages in of, again, using sales psychology of, okay, this is the problem that our ideal clients are facing. How are we going to fix it? And then educating around that, and not constantly selling, just building that relationship, because people are watching. People are, going to social media to check people out now way more than Google. So I think it is really important to show that you're alive, that you're active, to build trust. And it really, that's essentially it.
Yeah, that "Are You Alive" thing is big. We speak about that. And I've also heard of, what do we call it? We call it shadow customers. So shadow customers or shadow prospects are people who are lurking in the shadows. They're checking you out online. They're looking at your social media. They're going to your website. And at that point, they're making a decision about whether they want to engage with you or not. And so they might just be lurking in the shadow. So what is it about your content, about your messaging, that is going to make them take action? And further on from that, the other piece that we sometimes speak about around socials or brand awareness type content is a theory that we call the mirror theory. So if I go to, let's just say, I'm having a difficult time with my IT provider. It's not the case, but let's just say I'm having a difficult time with my IT provider. And I start asking my friends and family for referrals. A couple of people refer some names for me. I will not Google them. I will go straight to social media and go and check them out.
Mm-hmm.
I will check out their LinkedIn profile. First of all, tick, they're alive. It sounds terrible, but they're posting consistently. I can see that they're humans, they're real. Second of all, I want to see on that page that they understand me and my problems. And this is what the mirror theory is. So I want to see myself in that content, and for them to have content such as, and I'm just thinking on the fly here, but it might be like, are you frustrated? Like, not are you frustrated, but because that's so cliche, but waiting, something around the waiting time of a service request with your IT company. And I'm like, yes, that is my biggest pain right now. It's not the case, but this is my biggest pain right now. You get me, you understand, showing me that you can solve my problem. Great. I resonate with you. I'm probably going to take action. You're worth a call. Versus if I jump onto a IT provider's social media and they're just like, at such and such, we are
This
the,
is what I do.
yeah, we've got so much integrity and all this stuff.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, lame.
Yeah, it's like this is what I do versus how I help. And but it's not just how I help, it's more like the pain points, like really getting into it. And I think also in the B2B space, just going off peak here and not speaking about Blackjet, but some of our clients have really complex businesses as well. And so to be able to break that down in a way where people understand, like cybersecurity, it's like, wow, that jargon is a lot for the average consumer to understand. So I think social media also plays a part, especially in that B2B space, of really breaking down what it is that the business is also doing. Because I think if you don't understand within a few seconds what the business does, it's going to be a really hard sell. And social media can help do that. Another thing that's quite interesting is the rise of AIO and how come July this year, your Instagram and other social media platforms are actually going to be available like on Google. And so the way that we fundamentally use social media is actually going to change. And I think, or the way that you write your messaging is, it's got to be conversational, it's got to be human, which we love ChatGPT, don't get me wrong, but there's got to be that human strategy piece behind it all, because I'm sure you've all played around with ChatGPT and I see those M dashes and
So
you can pick it out.
you
Yeah.
can pick it out and you
Yeah.
can see it in a lot of people not realizing that their content just screams ChatGPT.
And generic, and just there's not that strategy behind it, that understanding who you're speaking to and how to speak to them.
So talking more about AIO, because this is so fascinating. My personal opinion is that the timing of websites is, I'll start that again. My personal opinion is that I think websites are dying and people are not, it's actually been proven that people are Google searching certain things and then they're going on to ChatGPT to go and to find out more about it, or they're asking ChatGPT about it first and then going direct to the source, whether that's booking a call or their Instagram page or their LinkedIn page. And so what you're saying is that it's going to be really important that our social media content answers those questions that they're asking in ChatGPT or in Google. So how do I fix my lead generation problem?
Yeah.
All of a sudden, Blackjet is going to come up top because it's consistently answering
The questions.
Yeah.
So it comes back to those pain points, everything sort of comes back to the problems and how you solve them.
So what would you be spending your time on now, SEO or AIO?
AIO. I've never spent time on SEO, so AIO.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you want to talk a little bit more about AIO?
AIO?
So just
Yeah.
for people who don't know what AIO is, SEO is search engine optimization.
Yeah, and this is essentially, I guess, if you know what SEO is, AIO is the artificial intelligence optimization. So it is similar concept, but it's all around that AI piece. So if you now go into Google, there's like that section up the top, that AI section, or ChatGPT. And the more I speak to people about ChatGPT, and I speak to people of all generations, people younger than me, people my dad's age, who are using it like Google now. And essentially, AIO is optimization. So, optimizing every piece of your content. And I'm not just talking about your Instagram, I'm talking about your LinkedIn, your Facebook, any of your digital storefront presence, and just making it really human and conversational. So, it's about writing how you provide your solutions in a really conversational tone, in a way that people would Google it. So you're not using any jargon, you're breaking it down in a really conversational sort of way that people understand it. The way that they would Google it is the way that you need to write it.
I love how we're now on this AI chat, because the other thing that the other thing that comes to mind for me around AI is the way people are using it. And you mentioned your dad is using AI. My dad is using AI constantly, and he uses the voice chat functionality. I personally have used the voice chat functionality a lot as well. The other day, I knew that I needed to write an email to somebody, which was a scope of work. I was in the car, just had a little chat with my, she's a she, my AI, and she was able to pull together that summary for me. I've also been on 45-minute walks before, and I remember this vividly before when we were doing a pivot back in 2023, 2024 in Blackjet. I was just having chats with my friend.
Yeah.
And like, oh, but what about this? Oh, but what about this? So if you were saying to someone to start utilizing AI more, what tips and hints would you be sharing with them? Because you're all over this in our company hacks Slack channel. You're like, guys, I've just done this. I've just done this.
Where would I start? Okay, I think I would actually start, because a really interesting piece around the voice note, right? Because that also plays into the AIO conversational tone, because how you speak and how you type are two very different things. So where I would start would be, think about how you speak, you know, and what you Google when you have a problem. So if your problem is, how do I generate more leads? What are you going to plug into Google? It'll be, how do I generate more leads in the insurance advisory space? And those are those keywords that you need to then be using in your content, and everywhere. You need to be so dead clear on what it is that you are. So if you're an insurance advisory space, not just saying I'm an insurance advisor, you need to be speaking how you help people, because there's so many different, you could be doing life insurance or you could be doing commercial insurance, and you need to be so dead clear on what it is and who you're servicing and how you do it. So it seems quite simple, but you really need to think about it in quite a strategic way. So it all comes back to knowing who you're targeting, how to speak to them, but then doing it in a really conversing in a human way. And I think that is what people are getting wrong at the moment with the rise of AI, is that they think that you can plug it into ChatGPT and all is well. And it's like, no. That is it looks like GPT, and there's no strategy behind it, because you don't have that knowledge. So I guess it's not as simple as what people think. Like, you really need to understand some of that psychology behind it. And once you do, it's pretty straightforward from there.
We also see people getting a little bit despondent about GPT when they first give it a go.
Yeah.
So they'll go, "Oh, I tried ChatGPT and it didn't give me what I wanted." Okay, that's fine. First of all, are you paying?
Yeah.
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 Are
Yeah.
you paying for ChatGPT? If not, you need to be paying because it's going to unlock so much.
Yeah.
Second of all, what information are you sharing with it?
Yeah.
So with at Blackjet, we've been our GPT account has been collecting information since early 2023, and it is so strong. Like, it's been taught how to generate content in the Blackjet way, everything about us, everything about our clients, all the stuff that's all like non-confidential information, of course, but
How to qualify leads.
how to
Building one in
qualify
there.
leads. Yeah, you're building that. You've also taught it how to give you prompts to give you prompts.
Yeah. That one's great. That one's great. Working GPT against itself is my favorite thing to do.
So saying, what questions should I be asking you, or what questions do you need to ask me to be able to give me the right kind of information
That
that
was
I know?
such a light bulb moment, and it is so simple. But as soon as it was one of my, 1 a.m. thoughts. I was like, wait a minute, I'm going to work smarter, not harder here. and, and it's been a game changer for sure. And I think another key thing is that we're constantly evolving our GPT as well. So if something changes in our messaging or something small, we have a system in place to remind ourselves to plug that into our GPT, because it is a computer and it will only give you what you feed it. So you need to remember that if you're tweaking your strategy here and there, or you're tweaking your messaging, or you want to target another vertical, that you need to provide it with that information, because it doesn't know. You sort of need to treat it like a child.
A child.
Like, I'm speaking to a 5-year-old here, and this is, I mean, a very, very, very smart 5-year-old.
Very.
But you need to, like, it doesn't know until it knows. You really need to just kind of put a blank lens on and go, well, what if somebody knew nothing about what we do? Like, what is it that we need to give them?
Do you know what I asked ChatGPT to help me with the other day?
What?
This is not relevant, but it does show how if you're thinking about using GPT, how it can make your life better. So I was at a car park. The person next to me, unfortunately, their car battery was flat, so I offered to give them a jump start. But I was a little confused about how to, like, the black and the red and I'm not a mechanic girly. So I took photos in GPT. Have you used that functionality yet in GPT? I did it here as well, where we were having some trouble with the heating and needed some help. So you just take a photo of what you're doing and you upload it to the chat, and it was like, oh yes, no, you've done it right. The black is meant to be there and the red's meant to be there. And then I started voice chatting with it, what else could be helping us. And that's in a life instance as opposed to but yeah, if you haven't tried out that adding a photo or even video recording, it's an amazing tool to be able to give you just those extra
It'll
bits
be a
and
game
pieces.
changer for my mum, who's consistently asking me how to use all of her technology. So thank you very much.
It's great. And also for people who struggle with words or with reading, right?
Yes.
Like, it's just, and I'm sure that, I mean, I know of people in my personal circle who struggle with dyslexia, and they're just using it, and it is like those people have actually got amazing brains about seeing. Anyway, I'm digressing, but
Yeah, absolutely. And
it's
game
amazing.
changer, you just need to know how to use it.
Yeah. So we're using AI a lot at Blackjet. I think sometimes we forget how much we're actually using AI and automation, and how we're constantly seeking new horizons. We recently went on a journey of trying to find a new solution for lead generation.
We did. That sort of interception. I think this is what you're talking about. The interception between sales and marketing is. No? Or are we going somewhere else?
Take us wherever you want to go.
Okay.
I was talking about the new tool that we tried for 3 weeks, and then
Yes, let's go there
had no
first.
lead generation.
Let's go there first.
Okay, cool.
Okay. Love that one of our core values is seek new horizons. It makes so much sense. Marketing, already touched base on this. What was working yesterday is not going to work tomorrow.
Yeah.
And so we didn't actually have, it wasn't broken. Our system was working, but we wanted to seek new horizons. Could we do it better? You know, you've always got to do that in marketing. You've got to evolve. You've got to pivot. And so we were like, let's try some new tools. We did, and I spent a lot of time.
We were also working internationally, right? So it was like a 5-hour time difference. We were having to get on calls at 6 a.m. or crazy evening.
Yeah, and yeah, absolutely. So it was
Language barrier.
language barrier. There was lots of that, and they were semi new sort of SaaS product, and they were hungry and they were great, but the product didn't deliver. And we tested it out for 3 weeks, and that came out at a huge cost because it meant that our system, which wasn't failing, we had turned off. And trying something new meant that we weren't getting calls booked and we weren't getting those leads coming in. And I was trying it and testing it. And, I was calling the founder of this product going, what am I doing wrong? And I wasn't doing anything wrong. It just didn't work. And that's okay. I think there was a learning from it. It was like, okay, don't fix what's not broken, but continue to seek horizons. But as soon as we plugged on our system, I was just like, hallelujah. It was like day and night.
And it's not just the here and now of not having that daily activity going out for that 3 weeks. We lost the compounding effects of it as well, because a piece of outreach now is also a piece of outreach that you see the results of in 6-12 months time.
Totally. I think for us it's about 90. I think ours is about 90 days, according to our CRM.
So sometimes that's what happens, right? It's not, you should be doing this is my dad's saying, when's the best time to be doing your marketing or your lead generation? It's not when you're quiet, it's when you're busy.
Yeah.
And that's because it takes time. It compounds. And if you start doing your marketing when you're quiet, it's way too late.
Yeah, because you're scrambling and you can't, and not everyone's ready to say yes right now. They need a little bit of nurturing. And so that momentum has dropped off, which for us it did for 3 weeks. And so when we plugged the new system back in, the old system, sorry, thank goodness we had a bit of momentum already built up. So although paused for 3 weeks or turned off, we still had a little bit of momentum, which is why we saw results instantly when we plugged it back in.
Thank goodness.
I think it's probably quite key to make that, stipulate that it's not like turn on instant results. It's like you do have to build a bit of momentum in there. You've got to build a bit of trust. It's all about establishing those relationships. And yeah, like you said, there's the here and now, the yes, sign me up, but then there's the chat to me in 3 weeks' time because I'm in Europe right now, or I'm so busy, I don't have time to speak to you, but, flick me an email in 4 weeks' time. And a lot of people don't follow up on that, or they get lost in their Google calendars and their Excel sheets. And that is money that you have literally left on the table.
Which might be a nice segue to talking about key metrics and reverse engineering. What do you think about chatting about that? Where do you want to go with that?
Yeah.
Do you want? Yeah.
I love this. I love this so much. So reverse engineering is something that you taught me. I mean, it's quite a simplistic sort of idea, right? It's like, where do you want to go? So you start at the end, and how are you going to get there? So that sort of framework is quite straightforward, right?
It also works for life too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Not just business. Like, where do I want to go? Oh, how do I reverse engineer? And it might not even necessarily be material things. It might just be, how do I want to feel? Anyway,
Absolutely.
I'm getting happy. Yeah.
Absolutely. And so I think this was a bit of a game changer when we sort of looked at Blackjet and we were like, okay, we had all this data. And to me, some of it, I was like, whoa, this is overwhelming. It's like, okay, that's great. This is not landing. This is cool. I'll tweak this. I'll do that. But when we implemented that reverse engineering dashboard, that sales and marketing dashboard that we now have, it was like the KPIs were the same, but they were just so much more clear. It was like, and now on a week to week basis, I'm like, oh, darn it. Okay, I didn't quite meet the KPIs last week. So this week I know I've got to double down, or it's like night and day. It's
Mm.
just so clear on every step of, hey, this is what we're gunning for. And this is what we need to do to get there. This is how many appointments we need because based off our average, conversion rate, and there's so much to it. And I think we've nailed that.
I think we have.
Yeah.
And in the first instance, we weren't too sure what those metrics were going to be because we were making some assumptions. So just to go into a little bit more detail, if it's helpful, is that what we mean by reverse engineering is going, how, as Claudia said, like what's the outcomes that we want? So if the role of marketing is to generate marketing qualified leads, well, sorry, I'll back up a sec. Because the role of marketing is to generate marketing qualified leads, but also sales qualified leads. And by definition, a marketing qualified lead is someone who has taken 2 or more actions across some of our marketing activity. So they might have opened an email and they've clicked a link or something like that. So they're now a warmer contact. Or we also put that they've replied warmly to an email or a inbox message or something like that. But what we knew is that we needed a certain amount of sales qualified leads or appointments to get to our revenue goals, our business goals. And then we reverse engineer out of that. So how many marketing qualified leads generally generate one sales qualified lead? Oh my gosh, awesome. We've now got that number. Okay, so what are the activities that drive marketing qualified leads? Well, it's this, and this. Okay, so on average, if we send out this many of those, we get this many marketing qualified leads. Okay, well, we just need to do that. And then to your point of activity versus effectiveness, by having that data, we can then go, cool, well, we're doing all this activity, like we've done 10,000 actions in the last 30 days or whatever it is, but we've only generated a very, very small amount of the outcomes that we wanted. So the activity was there, but the effectiveness was not there.
Yeah.
So and to your point of A/B testing, like what do we need to do now to improve those conversions at each of those points?
Yeah.
So the goal would be, what is the least amount of activity that we have to do for the most effective amount of results?
Outcome. Yeah.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
and it's a great feeling when when you have clarity. I mean, sorry, I'm speaking from my experience. I love clarity.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Honestly, I love clarity. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, it's amazing because I think going back to that A/B testing and that data piece is, not everything is going to land. That message might not have cut through, or there are various reasons. And to be able to see the data and to see what's working and what's not, and to be able to make decisions based off real live data. Because if something's working, we're going to turn that up tenfold, and if something's not working, that's okay. We'll tone it down. And you can't do that if you don't know. You can't manage what you don't measure.
Yeah.
What is that?
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
That's it.
So yeah, my dad. Yeah, something from my dad.
Manage what you don't measure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've always loved
I like that.
saying.
Yeah. So, as we look to wrap up, is there anything that you feel that we should have covered today or that you want to share?
I think we have touched base on it, but just reiterating the power of nurturing, because I think that is often overlooked. But also maybe understanding where in the funnel or what piece you kind of need to be working on. I think that actually is the idea behind it. So it's like, okay, I need leads, I need top of funnel. Okay, we've actually got quite a solid amount of leads this week, so let's like do some nurturing. Or, do they need like a piece of education? Do they need like a lead magnet? Do they need, what is it do they need to convert them? I think that that's sort of knowing where they're at in the journey. Comes down to CRM management and all of those automation reminders, and I just think humans make mistakes. We forget reminders, but having a system, an automated system behind all of it, just makes inconsistency impossible.
Ooh, I love that. Makes inconsistency impossible.
Yeah.
And everyone wants consistency
And
for
in
everything in
marketing,
their life.
totally. Totally. But it is a non negotiable for marketing,
Mm,
right? Being consistent.
yeah.
Yeah.
Favorite thing about Blackjet?
Ooh, I think maybe our SOPs. I think everything is pretty clear on how we do it, but then similarly, the ability to tweak when it's not working, seeking new horizons, I think is fundamentally my favorite thing about Blackjet is we're not afraid to change something and make it better.
Yeah, awesome. Well, I appreciate what you're doing and the team. And thanks so much for joining us today for a chat.
Thank you for having me.
Really good. Thank you.